I used to chase the ROI all the time, return on investment. And over the course of time, that has evolved into what I call return on life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be. Hey, this is Randy Dick of the podcast Return on Life. And so often we chase the ROI, return on investment. But listen, we have one life. We have one legacy to live. What about the return on life? Here at Return on Life podcast, we interview amazing guests. And today I have an amazing guest that is a realtor in Springfield, Mass. And I've got Dhaval Patel with me today. David's an amazing young agent, been just kicking it and rocking it. And he's a fairly new agent, under 30. And yet he is being touted as one of the best under 30 by NAR. So we've got an amazing guest today. Welcome here, Dhaval.
Thank you so much for having me, Randy. I'm super, super excited. I'm super delighted to be here. You've been doing this since 1992, a couple of years before I got into business. I
Maybe
got
before you were
licensed.
born, eh?
That's true.
Oh, that's awesome, awesome. So, you're an interesting fellow. I looked through your bio and I see some really cool things. And, from the way you approach life to the way I think you approach real estate. Tell us how you got your start in real estate.
Yeah, so the honest truth, I was at the end of a 6-month road trip, and I've always been very intrigued by sales. For some of the audience, you may resonate. It was one of those things that one day I'll, and at the end of the trip, I had some time to reflect. I got licensed as a realtor. This was in February of 2020. We all know what happened a month later. And I met a broker at a networking event and it absolutely clicked. I knew this is a guy that I want to run with and learn from. His mindset and character were spot on. And I'm super grateful to be part of Sir Rovi Homes and the brokerage here.
Fantastic. Really, it's always about the people. It is always about the people and
Absolutely.
the vibration of the individual, the frequency that that individual is giving off is really what draws us to people. And so it's interesting you say that because you have that vibration happening. I can feel it over the podcast. What do you do on a personal level outside of your real estate business that gives you that energy, that gives you that, I got to get up and just get at it every day?
A couple of things. So in terms of habits, we'll dive in that, and then also the why. I listened to a couple of the podcasts that you actually were on, Randy, and I think we're similar in the set of having that bigger vision that you're going after. For me, I was born in Michigan, Detroit. My mom was 16 when she came to the country. My dad was 21, and hearing of some of the sacrifices they made to give us the opportunity that we have here, I'm so, so grateful. And as far as the habits go, they've evolved over time, but I think that the key ones right now that are helping me the most are sleep. I used to sleep about 5.5 hours a night. Do not recommend that. So I'm getting about 8.5 hours of sleep fairly consistently. I meditate 20 minutes a day. And on a yearly basis, I go to a meditation silent retreat. It's about 10 days, and that really helps center me, especially in real estate, since many of us are working fairly long hours and weekends. I find this brings me back to center and alignment. And then exercise is huge for me. So I work out every day, and I find that gives me so much more energy to show up and ensure that I'm adding more value for my clients, and then also simply leading a more fulfilling life.
Hmm. What's it like being on a 10-day silent meditation experience?
It was life-changing. So the first time I did it was back in 2017. I had a friend recommend it, and I said, "Oh, that sounds great. Maybe in another lifetime." But fast forward with business, I had a really nice win, and I made a lot of money on paper in one day with the business acquisition, and it was bittersweet. I thought it was really going to make me happy, and it did for about 15 seconds, and then the 16th second came, and I realized, and I was asking myself, "Is there all there is?" And that led me down the path of taking the 10-day course. It's called the Vipassana, and it's essentially donation based. So it's not for profit, and you're living essentially as a Buddhist monk or a nun for those 10 days. It's open to all religion, all faiths, and you're meditating 70 to 100 hours during those 10 days. There's you're waking up at 4:30 a.m. You're not having any food after noontime, and it's a time, at least it was a time for me to really sit and reflect and
Mm.
process different emotions. I felt so light at the end of it, and I think the habit of some of the most successful people in the world meditate consistently. Ray Dalio is a gentleman I listen to, several of his podcasts and content. He does it. He's been doing it for 3 or 4 decades, at least 20 minutes a day, if not 40. Um, it's been a total game changer. And our
Wow.
CEO of our brokerage is actually doing it this December.
Awesome. Inspired by you, I guess.
Maybe.
Wow. Well, well, here's our point, return on life. You said I made this massive deal, put this thing together, thought this was going to change my whole life, my psyche. And on second number 16, you said, huh, where's the return on life on this?
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. One other thing I thought was really interesting, you said you felt light. You felt so light. You know, um, just yesterday I was speaking with my team and we were talking about the weight of things. And weight can be heavy or it can be like, woo, I like this weight. Whether it be money can be very, very heavy and emotionally heavy in a negative way, or it can be like, wow, it's like heavy weight of money. And that can be family, that can be the market, that can be all things. And we can decide if it's heavy or light. How do you describe that lightness that you felt? That's really interesting to me.
Yeah. It's not often we get a time to be present without any devices, any tech, any contact to the outside world, and simply being on your own. And I think one of the things that really clicked for me was recognizing at the end of the 10 days how much happier I was. And going back to normal life, things that previously would really get to me, being stuck in traffic or something happening in a deal, it didn't get me as frustrated. And I noticed I was more equanimous. Now there's a lot of work for me still to do, but I know I'm on the right path and I'm getting a little bit better every single day. And I think also reflecting on I've been super grateful and lucky to meet people who I thought I ultimately wanted to become. They were very, very like beyond my wildest imagination in terms of financial success. But I also get to see their personal lives, and it was very, very eye-opening. And I'm so grateful to be able to experience that in my early 20s and realize it could be a dangerous path if you make money the highest thing, the only thing that you're going after. Because in my experience, in life to be really fulfilled, you've got to have several buckets that you're really enjoying and you're going in all aspects, right? Money to ensure that you've got basic necessities met, enjoy different experiences, be able to have a career that's fulfilling, whether it's being a realtor or a barber or a teacher, do something that really resonates with you and that brings inner joy. And then in terms of health, right? There's so many living a fulfilling life and having that bucket, I think is really important. And then relationships,
Mhm.
those are the top couple of ones that really speak to me.
Right on. Love that. Love that. a lot of people struggle with their why. You know, when you ask people, wait, what's your why? They kind of look at you like, ah, I'm not sure, you know, like they're not sure. And so, you know, I've often said, well, just think of it this way. There's kind of four things you need to really understand about the why. And I think you've really figured it out, David. But that is, you know, what is your, I mean, your superpower, first of all? What makes you come alive every morning? So, what makes you come alive? What's your superpower? How do you add great value to others? And then, last but not least, you want to make sure that you leave a legacy. What are the people saying behind your back about you? What's the story, right? And
Yeah,
I think you've just shared amazing direction of how you handle things and how you see things. So, anyways, we're talking about mindset. We're talking about you know, that being within us. But let's talk a little bit about real estate too, because we've got a lot of realtors that are going to be going, what makes this David fellow so special? And you're under 30 and just killing it. Tell me why you started with a team, because a lot of people, when they enter real estate, because you're fairly new to this, you're a few years in, and they struggle with, should I go with a team, should I be an individual, how am I going to find success? Because it's a scary business and it's a lonely business as well. So
yep.
help me understand why you made that decision to join a team right out of the gate, and has it been the right decision?
Absolutely. Um, Without question, I 100% recommend for any new agent to join a team. And the reason being is you don't know what you don't know. With the team approach, you've got a mentor that's really looking out for your best interests. And you're getting all the training, which is extremely important, right? There's different videos you can watch on YouTube, but having a mentor that has done, you know, a couple hundred deals, or in your case, Randy, a couple thousand deals, you know, the breadth of experience and knowing what works, what doesn't work, and leads are super important. Many teams are providing leads for you to contact and reach out to. And if you're willing to put in the work, the framework is there for many teams. In addition, with our brokerage, we have training with a Tom Ferry network. So he's considered one of the best coaches in the world. And there's tremendous benefits from that. And also the tech stack. Our brokerage, we've got some of the best tools that the marketplace allows, and with the CRM, customer relationship management tool called Follow Up Boss. There's tons of them out there, but it brings everything in one clear platform. That way you're not, you know, looking at post-it notes, your phone, and, you know, scrap sheets of paper. It's in one spot, it's clear, and you can really make yourself efficient to focus on the activities that yield you the greatest ROI. You know, if you're spending 2 hours prospecting, you want to make sure those 2 hours are really, really solid. Also, one of the top realtors in the world, Ryan Serhant, has got a phenomenal book, Sell It Like Serhant, and he also recommends joining a team. So definitely a lot to be said about it. And Randy, you've got a team as well. You know, I saw in one of your recent podcasts, you've got 25 agents, you're going to 50. So that's fantastic. And I'm super excited for all those agents to be able to learn from your experience.
Mm. Thank you. You know, I started building a team back in 2000, so I've been a team lead since then. And really, I started a team because I saw the value in doing the productive things so I could get a better ROI, which then turned into an ROL. And, you know, we as agents, the productive things that we do, we make thousands and thousands of dollars an hour in certain activities. And then other activities is really $25 an hour. And so this is the benefit of being on the team. And I think you're probably experiencing that, where you have better ROI with a better ROL, because you're creating lifestyle, because the team does a lot of the heavy lifting on that $25 an hour work, and you get to go out and be with people. So I call it, you get to be part of the hunt, and the feast. And you're out hunting or helping buyers and sellers buy or sell. And then you drag that contract or that carcass back to the office, throw it on a desk, and now you just wait for them to deliver the feast, which is possession, completion, the transfer of title. And so that's the benefit of really being on a team. If you've got a good team and a good team structure and great people. And so I'm assuming that you're benefiting from the hunt and the feast.
You're absolutely right in that. And that's one thing. Thanks for bringing it up, Randy. Once we have a client under agreement on a property, there's so many systems and processes that many teams have. And we have virtual assistants that will ensure all the documents are being submitted for compliance reasons, and they'll follow up with the client, ensuring that documents are submitted to the appropriate parties, lenders are being followed up with. So they really take a lot off of our plate. So as you said, we can focus on activities that are really driving results, which is ultimately having more conversations, meeting with more clients, and then developing additional skills and training to become better agents.
Absolutely. And that allows you to do more deals. And more deals is almost like the
Yeah.
magnetism,
Yep.
because David, you know that a deal produces another deal and another deal and another deal. So tell me how that works with you. And what is your deal count at this point per year? How are you enjoying the team's success because of your success?
Yeah. So to be frank, the first year I actually struggled, even though I was on a team. Granted it was a little rocky early 2020 with the pandemic, and many clients didn't want to do showings, which is understandable. For several months. My first deal was in May of 2020. And I had the shiny object syndrome. I was trying to do everything, trying to go after FISBOs, trying to do mailers, trying to do, every different thing. And I wasn't focused. And the first year, I believe I did 9 deals. The second year, once I got more laser focus and realizing that it really comes down to prospecting. It really comes down to picking up the phone and really mastering that skill. Shot up to 28 deals.
Wow.
And the third year was about 21 deals. So I fell off a little bit. I wasn't as connected to my why. Volume was much higher than 2021 in terms of average price point. So in numbers, average price point in this neck of the woods is about 300,000. So volume first year was 2.1, and then it was 8.7 in 2021, and then just shy of 8 million last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. It's amazing how many of us chase shiny objects. And for me, the consistency of doing something over and over again is where the success happens. There's this quarterback named Russell Wilson, used to play up with the Seahawks. I love to go down and watch him. I'm just down the I-5 from them. And Russell would say, love the boredom of consistency. It's like just live in the boredom of that. And when you do that day in and day out, consistency happens week after week, month after month, year after year, or even decade after decade. And so many of us agents, listening here, I really appreciate this, David, because a lot of us chase that next shiny object. We see somebody down the hall having success at something, and we go, oh my goodness, I should be doing that. I should be chasing FISBOs. I should be chasing expireds. I should do lead gen. I should do whatever, ever. And really, there's so many great channels of opportunity in the game of real estate, but it's the consistency that brings the success. So thanks for sharing that. And by the way, that's no slouch. I mean, the average agent in North America sells 4 to 5 homes a year. That's the average. So you're like crazy successful, and that's amazing. And you're just getting going.
Yeah. I'm
Congratulations on
really,
that.
really excited for the future. And I'm sure, you've seen this, with many new agents. the snowball effect, past clients reaching back out, their cousins looking, or they're looking for another property. So, roughly 25% of business is now referral and repeat clients. And uh, it definitely makes it easier because there's already that trust and rapport there. It really creates a domino and snowball effect.
Yeah, it really does. Now, we're here to talk about return on life, yet we know that in order to get that snowball or that boulder moving, it takes a lot of effort. And a lot of our businesses are not successful being built on a schedule of 9 to 5. Tell me your schedule. What does your schedule look like on a daily basis?
So I'll share the schedule from last year. This year is a little unique. Typically, let's use 2021 or in early 2022 is, that's when I was really laser focused. I would wake up around 5:15, head to the gym, which is right across our office, about a half an hour away from me. Get in an hour workout at CrossFit. I love it, by the way. There's that competitive drive, and it really helps. From there, I'd be the first one at the office at roughly 6:30, and get everything planned out for the day. Do some quick meditation, and I'd have a solid hour and a half to focus on an important project, right? It could be setting up a Google My Business page, could be getting reviews, or really strategizing the day and working on the business instead of in it. From there, I would start hitting the phones around 8:30 or 9, do a roughly 2-hour dialing session. And then at 11, it would be reaching back out to clients and working on any deals that need my attention. Then afternoon, some appointments, any deal doctoring that needs to happen. And then later in the evening, usually a networking event or doing some additional dials. And then probably head back around 7:30-ish.
It's a full schedule. It's a full
Yeah,
schedule. And I love that you've got the workout first thing, get the endorphins going, and just
absolutely.
launch the day. So, my schedule is very similar to that. And back in the day when I was really pressing and pushing on the production side of things, that was pretty much my schedule to a T. Today, I'm a little bit more management focused and doing some other things, but I'm still an early riser, just like you, up at 5, off to the gym. And without that, my life just is not complete. So you got to start off with some, get that heart pumping and so forth. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So you're on your way to 50 deals. And what's the mindset around that? I've been there as well, where I've hit ceilings, and then how do you push through the ceilings? What do you do to push through the ceiling of, at this point, 28 deals? Like, I'm sure, knowing a little bit about you, you've got a goal of at least 50 ends or 50 deals per year.
The goal is definitely to continue to increase production, but that's a great question. I'm working on that right now because I've hit a slight plateau in
David, let me
terms
let
of.
me let me back up
Yeah,
a little bit.
sure.
And I'm making the assumption, but here we are, we're talking about return on life. The richest real estate agent doesn't mean the fellow with the most money. It's the fellow that has the money and the life to match it. Because you've probably seen people walking around your office or in your city of Springfield that they have a lot of deals, they have a lot of money, but their life looks miserable. What does
Yeah,
that look like for you? Is it deal count? Is it lifestyle? Is it a combination? Tell me what that looks like.
great question, Randy. I think I'm at this phase in life where I'm not married, I don't have any kids. I can really work hard and I'm in control of my destiny and really setting up the foundation for when I do have a family to be present. I was chatting with an investor that I met at a networking group earlier in the week, and he was similar. He started in his family business when he was 24. He's 32 now, and he really set himself up where he can pay attention to his kids He's got a 2 and 6 year old. He's fully present for them. And I think that's what I'm looking to do at this phase is really set myself up so I have financial freedom, understanding that I'm sacrificing a little bit more now while still having some balance. So I'll still enjoy some trips here and there. Um, but I find that motivates me, attending different conferences and having assistants really help. So I've got showing assistants that will colleagues that will cover showings and inspections to really allow me to focus on the prospecting side, and coaches, real estate coaches that really help keep me accountable and making sure that I'm progressing and really tackling some of those larger goals.
Fantastic. Well, power is all about proximity,
Mm,
proximity of power. And
yeah.
so you just touched on that. You've got great people around you, and those people are really what's helping you do what you do. One day you may have a significant other in your life, which will also help you as well. But how important are these people as far as influencing your business, your life, your direction, your big audacious goals? And maybe, and I'm sure you're going to say they're really important, but who are these important people? Who are these influencers in your life today?
Mm, it's a
And they
really good
could be
question.
books, they could be people, they could
Mm,
be a distant relative.
mm. It's a combination of all those resources. So my parents and some of the sacrifices that they've made really drives me. As far as mentors, the broker Stephen Rovithis and his parents were also immigrants, and he definitely leads by example in seeing how he engages with other agents at our brokerage and living the values that many of these great books preach, how to win friends and influence people, think and grow rich, 7 habits of highly effective people. There's a few books that really I think are transformative, and seeing someone that lives those day in and day out has been really powerful. I love reading audio books, in particular autobiographies of folks past and present,
Mm.
and seeing how they had many of the same struggles that I'm having. Some some of these folks, they lived 100 plus years ago, but understanding that it's common and it's to have self-doubt and to hit these certain thresholds in business. And we're super lucky with the internet to be able to really connect with these mentors and engage. And I think conferences have been very big as well for me. So I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins. I've been attending his conference for the last few years. And as far as building out the inner community, I'm still working on that. And I've got some college buddies that are in different areas. They're entrepreneurs. They're super successful, but I'm still working on developing that tribe of the top 5 people.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's just something that we just go through on a daily, yearly,
Mm,
decade basis, always looking for the tribe. And once we find people, of course, we keep them, but we're always adding to that tribe. Just recently read an amazing book. It significantly impacted me. It's called Who Not How. Who
yeah.
Not How. Have you read that book?
Our CEO mentioned it's on the docket for this year.
It is an amazing read. And if you really want to find the people that you should be around in your circle, I would highly recommend this book, Who Not How, because God only gives us so many gifts. Maybe he gave you a lot more gifts, David, than me, but I only got
I
a
don't know
couple.
about that.
I only got a couple of gifts. So once I read this book, I realized, gosh, rather than trying to figure out the how, because that's what we do. Oh, I'll figure out the how, and especially and imagine you're a bit of a D on the disc scale as well, a driver. So drivers
Maybe a
go,
little.
I can figure this out. And I read this book and I started realizing all the who's in my life that I should be bringing in to help me with the how. So really important. something that's been a driver for me, and not everybody would agree with this, is fear.
Mm,
Fear is a powerful motivator. Fear of failure, fear of not getting it, fear of not succeeding in my goals has always been a powerful motivator for me. Some would disagree with me that that's a motivator that I should use, but I think it is worthy to talk about. And so fear, I don't know how that works in your life, but is it a friend, a foe, or a motivator for you? What does fear
mm.
do for you?
I think it depends on the context. Fear in certain capacities helps. We signed up for this podcast probably around 8 p.m. last night. So the time frame, is less than 24 hours. In terms of prep, I wanted to make sure that I'm adding the most value for your listeners. So I listened to two of your podcasts, got to understand a little bit more about your story. And I think in that sense, it helped, right? Wa- Fear of not wanting to do a poor job. And also with real estate, not wanting to let my parents down, not wanting to let the broker down, and everyone that's been super supportive. So I think it definitely does help. I think if you take it, too far in the extreme, that's where, perhaps it's not as beneficial. But I think there's definitely value to a healthy sense of fear.
So let's roll it into real estate. Today, you've got a new client that you're meeting. How
Mhm.
does that motivate you? How does that help you, fulfill their wants, their needs, their desires when it comes to real estate?
Yeah. So I'd say fear of that initial first impression is making sure that you're really showing up. And let's use an example of like an ideal client, right? So I was helping a doctor couple that were in from New York. We're viewing, million dollar plus properties. And there's definitely fear there of not dropping the ball and ensuring that I'm helping this transaction through as seamlessly as possible. And we ultimately ended up negotiating $100,000 off list price. So there's some fear in that negotiation, in making sure that we get the deal for the client.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, every day, something comes at us that is probably not expected.
Mm,
Every day we've got things coming at us faster than we can handle. And of course, you can wake up in fear and go, oh no, I hope this doesn't happen. Or we can say, I hope this happens because I'm going to embrace it. And
yeah.
that's what I sense is what you're saying. You're going to just take it on and own it. I have a saying that I will always bet on myself. I
Yep.
will always bet on myself. Um, when you hear that, what do you think? Will you bet on yourself?
It's funny you say this. So the CEO actually did a video and he said exactly that. So would I bet on myself in many areas? Absolutely. In certain areas, not a chance. So um, by that I mean I don't gamble. So if I'm ever in Vegas, I'm not the guy you want to put the money on. But
No, I'm not a
in
gambler
terms
either.
of real estate, in terms of uh, of succeeding long term, yes, absolutely. Because we can't control external events, what's happening in the economy, what's how many millions, in the US, 5.1 million homes will be sold this year versus in 2021 it was about 6.8. At the peak before the '08 crash, it was about 8 million, to put in perspective. And we can't control that. What we can't control is our activities. How much work are we putting in on a daily basis? Are we training? Once we have that at that with the seller at a listing appointment, are we fully prepared to take that on? Right. So there's certain things that we can't control. And in that, yeah, absolutely would bet on myself.
Right on. You're young, you're full of life, you've got a bright mind. How do you see real estate changing in the next, let's call it a decade? Because you're going to be around in real estate for what, another 2, 3 decades?
Give or take, right?
Right on. So, we've got all this talk about chat GTP and AI and this and that. Where do you see, from your perspective, real estate going, and how would that impact your day-to-day schedule? Would it give you more lifestyle, more return on life? Uh, what do you see? What do you see with that?
I wish I had the crystal ball on that one, Randy. I was chatting with a couple of colleagues on this. So just actually one of the very first employees that worked at our brokerage back in 2015. I ended up co-broking with them. And they shared what the environment was like back in 2015. That's when internet leads really started to come about. Zillow was on the forefront, and Zillow really has changed the way real estate business is being conducted. Roughly 93% of people start their search online. And the number one website is Zillow, and the third one is Trulia, both of which are owned by Zillow. And for many markets, they've created this flex opportunity. Essentially, they're taking a 35% referral fee off the top. And it's become the norm across our industry, right? Whether it's a lender or realtor.com through OpCity, similar 35% referral fee. So it's changed the structure. And I think it's also really set up a system where agents that are doing business and helping clients at a high level with reviews, they're going to gain tremendous traction, right? Like with the internet, there's more transparency than ever, right?
Mhm.
And I think it'll be really interesting with ChatGPT in particular, and the impact AI is going to have on many careers. For those that are not familiar, the platform was launched November of 2022. In a matter of 5 days, it reached over a million users. It's the fastest anything in history, faster than Facebook, Twitter, Google. And you can put in a prompt to write a full essay or a paragraph, or add or ask recommendations in terms of what hashtags are going to get you the greatest ROI on Facebook, and it'll have an answer. And it's mining data from all over the internet. And even in professional fields, such as doctors' offices, doctors have asked, I've got a patient in this specific situation. How is that going to impact this client? And it's accurate. So I think it's going to have a major impact as far as the the real estate career. I think for many folks, buying a house is one of the largest transactions of their life. There is a tremendous emotional connection to your agent and overall emotions throughout the process. I personally don't think that can be replicated by AI. There's things that can be automated and outsourced, but ultimately, it's a relationship business.
Mhm. It's interesting you say that. I recently had a fireside chat with Glenn Sanford, the founder of EXP Realty,
Mm,
which is the brokerage that I'm with. But just he is such a big thinker, so forward thinking. And I asked him the same question. And his response was, well, we're all going to have AIs. So we as a real estate agent are going to have an AI, and we're going to be talking to the buyer seller's AI, and they're going to like fast track that process, which gives us more what ROL, and brings us to that decision maybe quicker and easier, because AI can take so much information, push out the emotion of it, because a lot of us make decisions on emotion, and emotion can be a wonderful tool, or it can be a horrendous tool, a blessing or a curse in that decision making. And he just thought that that's where we're heading, where we'll all have AIs. And then, yes, we still need to come together as humans to actually finish that process, but it'll just bring us closer, quicker, easier. And then, boom, engage. What are your thoughts on that? Is that real? Is he too far out there?
I think I've learned to stay in my lane. Honestly, that's not my forte.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd be able to give a great answer on that, but I was at a conference in DC a few weeks ago. I'm on the board of a credit union, so they had us go out, and one of the keynote speakers was Peter Diamandis, and he shared that 100 years old is going to be the new 60. He was talking about the power, abundance, right? So transformations in infusion, and there's so many aspects in terms of technology where we're making massive, massive advancements. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting world that we live in 10 to 20 years from now. I think there's just so much change that it's hard to stay on top. And again, that's not my expertise, so I don't want to just shoot an
yeah.
answer out.
But that is where we're going. And yes, we always talk about technology doubling every 18 months. Well, that changed. In fact, COVID accelerated all of that
Yeah.
because we became more open to it because we were forced to become more open. So then, of course, the adoption happens even quicker.
Mhm.
And so, I appreciate that. Hey, this isn't my lane, but I think we need to be aware that there's a lane that's moving so fast. It's like the Autobahn,
Mhm.
and it's moving at a state at a speed that you got to be careful. If you want to play in that lane, you got to like make sure that you're prepared to run hard and fast.
One quick thing I will add on that. So we with the CRM that we're using, Follow Up Boss, there's another provider called Ylopo that does Facebook ads, and there's AI in that. And there's assistant Ryo that will actually reach out to clients on our behalf, and it sounds like a human. It'll make grammatical errors on purpose. And many clients can't tell that it's a robot having these conversations. Now, of course, usually this is top of the funnel leads, um, but we're already seeing it.
Yeah, I know. I'm working with a company right now that does AI for texting, and
Mm,
you would not know it. And so the beautiful thing, I mean, what makes us human is our curiosity, our imagination.
mhm.
And up until years ago, like that, like nothing could duplicate the human mind.
Yeah.
However, we're getting there
Yep.
where AIs are curious like an individual, like a David, like a Randy, and they can use their imagination to think where we're going. By the way, I think those are the two most important gifts that we're ever given as a child, which is curiosity and imagination. But along the way, we, you, David, we start turning off our curiosity and pushing our imagination into the corner, which is really where the greatness within us exists. Yet
Mhm.
that was a gift that we've now put on shelf.
Yeah.
Really need to think about that. But coming back to the AI conversation, I believe you, me, agents, realtors will be selling real estate all over the world in a hologram one day.
Mm.
See, real estate's a game of trust. When you build trust with a client, they'll do anything, they'll fight for you, they will reach out to you wherever that property may be because they trust you. It's all about trust. And so if Michael Jackson can still be on the stage in Vegas, David could be in the Caribbean selling a house. What do you
I'll
think of
take
that?
it.
Do you think that's possible?
I think we'll get there. I don't know how many years in the future.
Right on. Okay, well, let's go to a little bit of a speed round here, and
Sure.
we'll just finish up this great conversation. And it's been fantastic. Really have loved this. What is your go-to to let your hair down? And I know it, don't say CrossFit because I know that does let your hair down. But what's your go-to just to say, oh man, I'm gonna kick back and let my hair down? What is that?
I really enjoy day trips. going to different cities nearby. I'm lucky here in on the border of Mass and Connecticut. Boston's 2 hours away, so is New York. DC is about six. So there's several places that I can go just for a quick weekend. I also really enjoy running. So I'm doing a race end of May, and it's a company called Go Ruck, so created by Special Forces guys. Basically, we're throwing on a 20-pound vest and doing a marathon. So I'm looking forward to
Wow,
that.
that's weight. That's not letting your hair down. That's sending your hair back. That's awesome. Favorite band? Favorite band?
Favorite band. I actually checked them out earlier in the month. Indian Ensemble. So it's a student group at Berkeley, and they're nominated for a Grammy. They're just absolutely incredible. So
I'm
I
gonna look
really,
them
really
up.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
That sounds really, really interesting. Do you prefer text, work, chat, talk, or video texting is really popular right now?
I'd say the call I think is pretty powerful, and then I really enjoy video as well. So I'd say between those two, if it's quick, text is a way to go.
Okay. You've got a book. Is it audible or is it readable?
Audible all day.
Audible. Okay. This one's a little bit of a tough one. This is the last one.
Sure.
If you're a sticker, scratch and sniff sticker, what would you be? And I'll go first to let you think about this, but I would love to be a combination of pina colada and sea breeze because I love
Okay.
to be on the beach. I'm a kite surfer, and so I love knowing that I'm smelling the ocean air and I've got a pina colada in my hand.
That's awesome. I love that answer. I'd say a combination of it's gonna sound weird, mangoes and I'd say the ocean as well. I mean, there's something about just being on water and the sand and yeah,
Awesome.
mango in the ocean.
Awesome. Well, David, you've been an amazing guest. Great insights on return on life.
Of
Hey, I'm
course.
Randy Dick, host of the podcast Return on Life. I've had David Patel from Springfield, Mass, and just